This video is part of a Barricade Top 20.
Capcom presents. Marvel vs. Capcom! Ready, fight!
Alright, so we're back for part 3 of the Dreamcast Top 20. So Marvel vs. Capcom is an arcade game that ported over to the Dreamcast wonderfully. The graphics are great, the gameplay is very fast, and you get to play as Marvel superheroes or any of the Capcom characters from Street Fighter and some of their other properties. So definitely check this one out.
Level 2! Good! Game over.
Ooh la la, Swing and Report Show.
Alright, and what would a Dreamcast list be without Space Channel 5? Sega with the Dreamcast pushed out a lot of games that were very different from what the competitors were doing. They tried a lot of different things, and I think it's wonderful. It gives the system its own identity. So this is definitely one of the most creative games for this system.
Up, down, shoot, shoot, shoot.
Thank you, la la.
So in this part of the game, I just rescued hostages by dancing. It's ridiculous, it's hilarious, but basically you imitate the moves that they want you to do with the directional pad, shoot, and your rescue button. The game gets faster and faster, and it has a lot of charm with its dance moves, its characters, and I love how funky the music gets.
Let's dance. Up, down, shoot, shoot, shoot. Up, down, shoot, shoot, shoot. Left, right. Let's dance. Up, kick. Up, shoot.
The whole point of the game is to mime what your enemies are doing, and if you make too many mistakes, your show gets canceled and it goes to a gray screen with static. I haven't seen any other game like this recently, and I wish there was more games like this. If you like this one, definitely check out part 2. They have it on the Xbox 360 on the Dreamcast collection.
18-wheeler.
So here is another Sega arcade title ported over to the Dreamcast. In the arcade, the cabinet was huge. Huge steering wheel, a bench to sit. It's definitely an interesting cabinet to look at and sit in. So this game, it's kind of like Crazy Taxi with the idea of dropping people off, but it's not as fast paced. The game's kind of relaxing, but at the same time, you're trying to get your trailer to point B on time.
Here's our first song and wake you up. Here we go.
I'm Lizardtail, #1 trucker in the US of A, and don't you forget it!
I enjoy the rival trucker. He gives a lot of great lines and road rage to you throughout the game, so if you ram into him, he'll get very upset at you.
You're running out of time. Hurry up. Time is up.
Not too bad! Hey, maybe I should take you under my wing!
What I just did there in the game was I slammed my trailer into a car. There are some levels where they want to make sure that you don't run the trailer into anything. They will dock you money if you do so.
Ready? Go!
For some levels, you just have to park your truck within the time period. You get your choice on other levels to what kind of trailer you want to haul. This is definitely a game I don't play very often, But when I do, it is very relaxing, but yet has enough excitement. Any of my lists have to have a Tetris game because I love this game. I have it on pretty much every system. So the next Tetris on Dreamcast is great because it gives you the new version that has special drop-down pieces of different colors, or they allow you to play a classic version of Tetris that is just the standard rules of getting a line all the way across with the regular shapes and colors. The game works wonderful, it has a great soundtrack to it, and it's one of the more creative titles that doesn't mess around with the formula too much from the original Tetris, but yet keeps it interesting.
Way to go! Quick time!
Tetris is a series that has been going on for a long time. I actually discovered Tetris on the N64, where the new Tetris has more of a worldly sound, whereas this game has more techno driving beats, which I also like. So this is Metropolis Street Racer. This game is a precursor to the Project Gotham racing series that went from the original Xbox onto the Xbox 360. At the beginning of the game, they don't give you many cars to choose from, but they give you a few options, a few colors, transmission, and from there you build up your collection of cars.
これはもう見逃せませんよ。
3, 2, 1, go!
The physics of this game are wonderful. This game has a lot of atmosphere. You can go from daytime races, nighttime races, driving during the rain. For being a Sega Dreamcast game that's over 20 years old now, it's wonderful.
Freshly sliced smoked tomatoes.
It still has great graphics. The gameplay still holds up just as well as it did back then. Definitely very underrated. It should have sold a lot more copies than it did. This should have been a definite system seller for the Dreamcast, and it's sad that the demise of the system happened so fast. The music is very creative. There's certain tracks that you might hear a jazz track, and then go to another one and hear a deep techno track or rock. I like the CD player option or the radio. So when you go underneath tunnels, you'll hear static if you'd like. If you don't, if you want more of a clean sound, they give you the CD option. Overall, it's a great racing game that balances arcade and driving in style. I would like to thank anybody that's been watching my list of Dreamcast top 20 games. This has been a project that's been in the making for the past couple years, and I haven't gotten to work on it very often, but when I do, it's just nice to sit down and be able to do this.